Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtadeshatharine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Sribharshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Pribhavhe Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dahine Prabhe Namaha Madhur Jalavala Pramadya Sirupanuga Vakidaha Sigora Karuna Sakti Grahaya Namaste Namaste Gauravani Simutaye Dinakarine
Have you seen her? Because you decided not to do kirtan.
Namo Gurakishwaraya Sakshat Padagimurtaye Vipralambara Shampode Padambujayate Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanga Nidashtasajana Priha Vaishnava Sarvakamashi Jagannathayate Namah Pavanchakalpatarobhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Radhe Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratize Namaha Panchatattva Atmakam Krishna Bhakti-rupa Svarupakam Bhakti-avataram Bhakti-akam Saknikam Namami Bhakta-saknikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Vigatade Gopesha Gopi Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Panga Mama Mandama Tergati Matsavasha Vadamboja Radha Madana Mohanu Nivyarinya Kalpadumadha Srimad Ratnakara Singhashanashta Sisi Radha Srila Govinda Deho Ashtani Bhi Shevanushmarami Sriman Rasha Rasharambi Vangshiva Tatha Shtidaha Darshan Venum Shvanaye Gopi Gopi Natha Shrieshna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Gadadhar Shivashadhi Gora Gora Bhakta Vrindam Bola Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Gadadhar Shivashadhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Thank you. I see a lot of black clouds, black screens with white names. I see Kishori Mataji, I see Darshit Prabhu, and I see Vijay Govind Prabhu. Dandvat Pranam. If I could ask My dear devotees, to turn on your cameras so that I can see your moon-like faces and see everybody else, and everybody else can see everybody else momentarily. That will be very, very nice. There we go. Hare Krishna, Amita. So nice to see you. I know some of you may be cooking. That's okay. It'll be nice to see you working in the kitchen. Some of you may be running on the treadmill. That is good. We will draw inspiration. There we go. I can see Suchita, Rani Mataji, Hare Krishna, working in the kitchen. Always very nice, very inspiring. Yeah, it becomes a little more personal when we see each other. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate everybody being here. And what we will try to do today is, because of Mother Nature, we could not meet in person. So we will try to just come together. Hare Krishna, Sakshi, thank you for joining, turning on your video. What we discussed that it would probably, next week we will do our Gita recitation. So in preparation to that, we will go through a few slides which are very generic but kind of give an overall picture of how the flow of Bhagavad Gita happens through all 18 chapters. And it will kind of give us an idea as to where this conversation is going between Arjuna and Krishna, and how is the flow of that conversation. And more importantly, we'll discuss some of the essential teachings of these chapters and see how we can bring them into our life. Like many times we see Bhagavad Gita going on, but we are not able to incorporate into our practical life, in our day-to-day life. So how we can do that. So that we will try to discuss, if it is okay with all of you. With your permission, should we go ahead? I'll share my screen here and let's see if I can do that here. Okay. Participants can now see my screen. Is that visible? Everyone. Wonderful. So if there are any questions in between, feel free to interrupt, kind of unmute and, speak out, because this is more for all of us to kind of learn from each other. It is not that, I'm just talking and you all have to listen. If there is something that does not make sense, please feel free to ask, add, comment. Would be very nice to talk about it. So before we begin, we'll do a short Mangalacharan. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. By the way, how many of you know who was the person who was singing the kirtan? Would anyone want to unmute and tell who the person was?
Mother Yamuna.
Yes, thank you, Anandani, for telling. So Mother Yamuna or Yamuna Devi Das is one of the very original disciples of Srila Prabhupada. She was one of the 6 persons who went to London in 1970, 71, I believe, 69 or 71, to establish to start the Hare Krishna movement in London. So there are 6 devotees who went. Mother Yamuna was one of them. She has written so many books on deity worship, on dressing the deities. Also, she was a very good cook. She had written a book, Lord Krishna's Cuisine, who won the International Chef's Award that year. I think it was in 1980s sometime. and she was an amazing singer. So it was Mother Yamuna Devi Dasi. Her kirtans are very nice. If you get a chance, you can listen to it. So what we'll do today is we'll talk about Bhagavad Gita and how it'll help in redefining our life, and kind of we'll cruise through all the chapters and kind of get an essence out of a few chapters, and see what it is. What it is in Bhagavad Gita that Arjun and Krishna are discussing and how we can apply in our life. Many of you know Bhagavad Gita very well. Many of you have read Bhagavad Gita very well, many times. So I apologize if I say something that is very superficial for you, but I do believe that there is something in these slides that we can incorporate from the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita into our practical life that will be beneficial. So feel free to ask, add, or stop in between. So if we see Bhagavad Gita, essentially there are two dialogues that keep on happening in Bhagavad Gita. One dialogue is between Dhritarashtra and Sanjay, and the other dialogue is between Krishna and Arjuna. So we can draw a contrast between the two of these two dialogues at the very outset. So we can see that the dialogue that happens between Dhritarashtra and Sanjay is kind of like an outer dialogue, and the dialogue that happens between Krishna and Arjuna is an inner dialogue. The focus of conversation is different between the two dialogues. If we can see what Dhritarashtra had to ask Sanjay was who were the people who assembled in Kurukshetra, and then he said what is it that they did. So his primary focus was on who and on what. That means people and events. And when we think about Arjuna's questions, his questions was more about the reason as to why I am here, what is my dharma, what is my duty, what am I supposed to do. So his questions were more inner questions, and his questions had to do more with wisdom. And we can see that it is often said that people of low intelligence discuss people of average intelligence discuss events, and people of higher intelligence discuss ideas. So here at the very beginning in Bhagavad Gita, we can draw this very first lesson as to what we should discuss. Arjuna is asking here very important questions about the purpose of life, why he is here. We can see all around us when we talk to people or conversations that we are engaged in, or the news channels that we consume, or the social media that we consume. Most of it, if you think about, is about people and events. What are people doing? What is happening? Very, very rarely do we ask the questions that are pertinent, that are more relevant to our growth, and those are the questions about wisdom. One other way to think about it, when we discuss about people and events, we don't have any control over those situations, and those conversations mostly increase our anxiety. What we can really change about, or what we have control over, is essentially our actions, our purpose, our duty. And those questions can be answered when we ask the real questions of wisdom. So at the very outset in Bhagavad Gita, this is the very first lesson that we can draw from. The two conversations, how the two conversations are two different levels, and how we can position ourselves where we can really ask the important questions as to, why we are here, what is our duty, what is our dharma. That's the very first lesson that we can draw. And Prabhupada has so nicely given us this beautiful Bhagavad Gita, or Bhagavad Gita as it is, which has everything that we need, right? And it is so authentic. Prabhupada has given Bhagavad Gita that has got Bhagavad Gita verses, the original verses in Sanskrit. If we do not know Sanskrit, some of us who are not used to now studying Sanskrit or have not studied Sanskrit, then we can read it in English. There is a ucharana that is given. Then there is a word to word translation that is given, that is known as padecha or padarotokti, where we actually can see how each word in Sanskrit means in English. Sanskrit is a very scientific language, and many times each word in one word in Sanskrit may need actually a long phrase in English to explain its meaning, and that is given here. And after that, what Prabhupada has given is, for every verse he has given a Vyakya Yojana, or the translation, and then most importantly, what he has done is he has given us the purport, where he has explained the meaning of the verse for us. So that's essentially our Bhagavad Gita as it is. Each one of us hopefully has a copy, if not one, many copies that they are keeping at home, at work, and we are reading it and underlining it. And as Vishwanath Prabhu always mentions, that we should carry our Bhagavad Gita with us all the time. So essentially, Bhagavad Gita has a lot of things to offer us. What is it that we know about Bhagavad Gita overall, the big picture? How long ago was it spoken? 5,000 years ago, right? How many verses are there in Bhagavad Gita? 700 verses. And how many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita? We should know all that, right? 18 chapters. You hopefully know it. How many topics are discussed in Bhagavad Gita? In the very introduction, it says that Bhagavad Gita mainly discusses 5 topics. We have a very nice poster of these 5 topics now at the center that we should know. These 5 topics. Anybody of you would like to unmute and tell us what are these 5 topics? Let's see who is the courageous person. You can try. That's okay if you do not know it. Come on, one of you can do it. If you don't volunteer, I'm going to ask. Because, yes, good job. Go ahead, Darshit, you can do it.
I guess talks about karma.
Karma. What else?
Self, who am I?
Who am I? So, Jiva. Good.
Time.
Time. Kala.
Ishwar.
Ishvara. And one more thing.
Jiva, soul property.
Jiva, yes. Jiva we talked about. There's one more thing that we did not talk about.
Prakriti.
Prakriti, very good, Vamshi Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, Prakriti. So, these are the 5 topics that are covered in Bhagavad Gita. Then there are 3 yoga paths, main 3 yoga paths that are covered in Bhagavad Gita. What are these? So, any of you, those devotees who have not spoken yet, please unmute and say, what are the 3 main yoga paths that are described in Bhagavad Gita?
Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and
Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Yes. And there is one goal out of all these 700 verses, 18 chapters, 5 topics, 3 yoga systems. There is one goal. And what is that?
Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Shramam Bhaja.
Wonderful. Yes, Prabhu. That is it. One goal. Krishna says that surrender to me. And when you surrender to me, you're going to think about me. And when you think about me, man mana bhava, always think about me. He says that in the end of the 9th chapter in the middle. So that is essentially the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to change the way we think about everything around us. So that is what is very important. Uh, how we think about our everyday life, how we go about, that is what we need. We need to be always be thinking of Krishna. Smartavyas satatam Vishnu. Always we have to think about Krishna or Vishnu. That's why it is very, very important to rethink our life. Actually, are we thinking about Krishna in every day what we are doing today? That is a big question that we have to. If we don't, we have to take the advantage in Bhagavad Gita. They say there are two ways in which we bring about change in our life. If our life is not going the way it should go, then we bring about change in our life in two ways. One way is inspiration. We bring changes through inspiration. When we inspired by somebody to do something good, then we bring about change in our life. The other way we bring change in our life is through frustration. If we don't like that is something is going on, we are frustrated by it, we get fed up, then we bring about a change. So we can bring about change in two ways. So Bhagavad Gita inspires us. Bhagavad Gita inspires us to bring about a change, rethink our life. And they say that if you have to develop a new idea, read an old book. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedas. And Vedas is the oldest literature that we have. When this world was created, Vedas were created, and the essence of Vedas, the knowledge in Vedas, is what is given in Bhagavad Gita again. And the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was in Vedas from the very origin. It was spoken by Lord Krishna again 5,000 years ago, and that is Bhagavad Gita. So it is very, very important for us to understand this, that whatever we need in the world today, we are all working towards advancing ourselves. We are all working towards making ourselves better every day, right? Whether we are working, a job, or in personal time, whatever we are trying to do, we are trying to make a better version of ourselves. When we do that, we try to take help of so many books that we will take a look. But in all these books, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get a new idea. But what Lord Krishna is saying, that everything is already there in Bhagavad Gita, and that's the oldest book out there that we can draw inspiration from. So all this knowledge is in Bhagavad Gita. So what we're going to do today essentially is to kind of review the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita and draw out 8 major lessons from Bhagavad Gita, 8 main lessons from Bhagavad Gita. And these lessons are what is on everyone's mind. These lessons are relevant here and now. These lessons are what we actually are looking out, and we'll see how that will come. Now, let me ask you all today, in the world, when we go out, many times we see there are so many books on self-help or self-development, right? You go to Barnes and Nobles, or you try to give somebody a gift, like somebody who's graduating, or you want to make yourself better, improve yourself. We generally go out and find a book of self-help that's out there. So what comes to your mind? Uh, any such book that comes to your mind of self-help? Either you can unmute and tell me, or you can put it in chat. What kind of book comes to your mind?
Communication.
Communication? Which book is that?
Crucial Conversations.
Yes, that is good. Okay. What else? There are so many bestsellers out there about improving yourself these days.
Atomic Habits, 168 Hours.
168 Hours, Atomic Habits. Yeah, I have one here, Atomic Habits. What else?
A lot
James,
of finances related book,
a
financial.
lot of book on
Rich Dad,
finance.
Poor Dad.
Oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Wonderful. Yes.
Stop worrying, start living.
Stop worrying, start living. Wonderful. There are a lot of people who are in market or here in marketing, in management, in kind of consulting. Uh, there was a book that came uh, Start with Why by Simon Sinek, right? Books like that. There are many books like that that are on self-help. We see that these days, if you go to market, you will see books that are like The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, talks about positive energy. This is an all-time favorite book of so many people. Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari. Atomic Habits, we talked about. Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey gave a timeline about, the time metrics, about, what is urgent, what is not urgent, when to do things. And then there are many other books that came in this series, the Seven Habits of Highly Effective Teens, and subsequently books like that. And then The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. All these books that we see are books to make ourselves better. Why do we want to make ourselves better? It's because we want to be successful in this world. And we'll understand that we talked about earlier how if you want to find a new idea, you go to an old book, and we will see by the end of the talk that all that is there in this book is actually already there in Bhagavad Gita. So at the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in the very first chapter, we talk about success. How Arjuna is seeing that he is about to fight, and he is actually analyzing the situation. He is saying that by what I am trying to achieve in this war, I'm not sure if I will be happy. There is a very wonderful saying by Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is a famous actor. He says that I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it is not the answer. Right? It's such a powerful statement. It is such a powerful statement. And what does Arjuna say? Arjuna says towards the end of first chapter, he says that I can find no means to drive away this grief, Krishna, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on this earth with sovereignty like the demigods in the heaven. That's what Arjuna is saying. Arjuna is saying that I have analyzed what I am going to do, about to fight in this first chapter. He analyzed everything. He says, I see only trouble. I don't see anything in this that you say it's going to be successful, it's going to make happy. In fact, Arjuna has come to a moment where he realizes that everything I thought was success is actually not success because it's not going to make me happy. Bhagavad Gita actually tells us this very clearly. It is structured in such a way, and it teaches us and tells us actually what success is not. It tells us what is not success. Very succinctly it tells us. It questions us that we should redefine success in our own terms. It is very, very important to understand what Bhagavad Gita is telling in terms of success for us. Essentially, when we look at material success, we can see that there are few things that happen in material success. If everything was good and if you were completely satisfied and we have everything in the world that made us happy, we all would not be here on this call, right? We are on this call. The fact that we are on this call means that there is something missing in our life. Even though we have a roof under which we hopefully all have got warm temperature in our homes. We have got nice winter clothes to wear. We'll have prasadam at home, but still we are not happy. Something is missing. And we are all here because we all are realizing it, that we have to redefine success. That is very, very important to do that. And that's the essence of the first chapter, that we need to redefine success. Why do we need to redefine success? Is because we'll see that whatever we get materially, after some time we will realize that it is not actually giving us the happiness that we thought of. It's futile. We dream of a perfect, say for example, house. Whichever house we get into, we start having problems in that house, and we look for something else, right? The same thing can be about relationships. We might look for a perfect husband or a perfect wife, and once we start living with them, we start noticing that, oh, this is not right. The toothpaste does not go where it belongs. The towel is never hung properly. The shoes and socks are always lying here and there. There is no help in the kitchen that I can ever ask for. All these troubles come up. So, futility is there of a temporary, material world we can see. The other thing that is a big problem in material success is insubstantiality. We find that there is no substance in it. In the very beginning, we might see, oh, if I have a BMW, I'll be really, really happy. Or if I have that, expensive watch, I'll be really happy. Once you have a bunch of watches, the same watch would not give you that happiness. After a few days of owning the BMW, that does not give us the happiness. So if we see that there is insubstantiality. There is also something known as temporality. The happiness that comes from any material success doesn't last long. You get a promotion, you're happy for a day, maybe a week. After that, it becomes normal. Then more responsibilities come with that, right? The same things with any material success. You buy a new phone, it'll give you happiness for a few days. You buy a new pair of clothes, new shoes, new bike, new car, name it, anything material. It is only going to give temporary happiness. We have to redefine our success. There is another important thing that comes with material success, and that is duality. Duality means every responsibility, every success will come with responsibility and maybe something that we are not looking for. All of you now, majority of you are youngsters here who have not seen that. But in olden days, the audio songs were on cassette tape. How many people here know about cassette tape? Have you seen a cassette tape? Yes. Okay. The cassette tape had a side A and a side B. You remember that? So, there would be a song on side A that you really like, but then there will be a song on side B that you really hated. But there was no way around. You had to get the cassette tape for the side A. Same things happened with, material success. They come with their own strings attached. So, in material success, you'll find that there is futility, there is insubstantiality, there is temporality, and then there is duality. And when we realize all that, then we are looking for real success. And that search leads us to spirituality. So that's where Krishna is saying in the very first chapter that, Arjun, what you're looking for success is at the wrong place. You have to really find success at the right place. But then he says in the second chapter that before you get to understanding the spiritual success, you will have to understand who you are. You'll have to understand your identity. And that is what is important. That is the essence of chapter number 2. And the second essence in this 8-part essence series that we are going to look at, most of us in this world suffer from what is known as incredible inauthenticity. We are not real most of the time. We have a vision of ourselves that is so far away from reality. Think about it. There is a saying that goes like this: I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. Isn't that true? Most of the time, our identity of us is what we think the person in front of us thinks about us. That's the identity of us that we carry all the time. So how far we are removed from the reality, because our perception of ourselves is a perception of an illusion. It is so incredible. They say that for the most people, there are only two times in our life when we are authentic. One is when we are less than 5 years old, because we are so innocent, right? We are so pure, we are so innocent. We don't have a facade. We don't have a fake face in front of us. We don't have a fake smile. We are not trying to be somebody else when we are less than 5 years old. And the second time is when after the age of 75. So when we are old, then we don't care and we don't worry about what other people think about us, right? So Krishna says that we have to get to root of us, right? We have to really understand who we are. Ralph Waldo Emerson was a famous writer. His quote is actually here in behind Bhagavad Gita. At the very last page of Bhagavad Gita, there is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he says that to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to change you is the greatest accomplishment. Isn't that so important? And what does Krishna say? Krishna says in second chapter here, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, which is this material body, there is no endurance. That means it doesn't last. And of the eternal, that is the soul, there is no change. So as an identity, we really have to understand this, that we are a soul, and as a soul we are eternal, and we don't change, and we have qualities that are Satchid Anand. That is very, very important. Unless we identify ourselves with being a soul, there is no happiness in life until we deeply connect with our authentic self. So that is a very, very important lesson that we have to learn, right? So when we rediscover this identity, that lesson is important. Now what Krishna is saying to Arjun, there is one lie that you have assumed, and based on this lie, something else is happening. And that one lie is that you think you are this body. When you think you are this body, then two things happen. One is a Sanskrit word known as upadhi, or designations. And the other thing is anartha, or impurity. When you think you are this body, then you associate yourself with various designations. What are these various designations? Like, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm Gujarati, I'm Bengali, I'm South Indian, I'm North Indian, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a son. All these are designations, right? Because all these are based on the assumption that I am this body. These are all bodily designations. And when we have these bodily designations, then what happens is that we carry a lot of anarthas, or impurities. The envy, the pride, the greed, that I am this, the false ego, that happens. When we look beyond these designations and anarthas, we find that actually deep inside we are the soul. We are not this body, right? When we are concentrating mainly on our body, or our designations, then we can see that we connect with various things that are related to the body only. Like, we think in terms of our abilities, we think about what facilities do we have, we think about our identity in terms of body. But guess what? Anything related to body, Krishna just said, is not eternal. It keeps on changing. Our abilities keep on changing, right? What we know today, we may not know tomorrow. We may be able to run 5K today. We may not be able to run that tomorrow when arthritis sets in, right? We may have certain facilities today that we may not have tomorrow. If we are given another position, another job, or we are transferred somewhere else, we may not have those facilities. And our identity may also change. You know, once we have a certain position and a job, we may be the managing director. Next thing you know, you go into another company and you're not the managing director anymore. Our identity may change. So every time these things changes, what happens? We face what is known as a ego death. We face a sense of who I am. So every time these things change, we feel this ego death, and that is wrong because we identify with the wrong things. That is what is Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, that we do not need to do this. We really need to understand who we are, and we as a soul need to identify ourselves. And once we have identified ourselves, then we will be able to better define our position and redefine our success. Now, once we are there, Krishna telling this to Arjuna, Arjuna says that, okay, I understand this, that you are telling me I am this soul, but I am living in this world, Krishna. I have things to do. I have duties to perform. I have to make an effort. I have demands of my family. I have responsibilities that I have to fulfill. How do I integrate them all? How do I, live in this world, do all my material duties, at the same time have this idea that I'm a soul? How to carry on my spiritual endeavors while I am living in this world? To answer these questions, Krishna teaches Arjuna in the next 3 chapters something known as Karma Yoga. Now, how to understand the essence of Karma Yoga? Mahatma Gandhi, we all know who Mahatma Gandhi is. Mahatma Gandhi says that a burning passion that is coupled with an absolute detachment is the key to all success. Remember, Arjun wants to be successful here. And this is what Krishna is trying to say, that you should have a passion to work, but you should also have an absolute detachment. And that will be the key to success. So in chapters 3 to 5, Krishna teaches Arjuna something known as Karma Yoga. And what does Krishna say to Arjuna? Krishna says that therefore, without being attached to the fruits of the activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. This is from the 3rd chapter. Well, Krishna says to Arjuna that you have to work, but work without attachment. And that is what you have to do. Arjuna on one side says that there is something material here, right? Krishna says that is right. Materially, you are a husband, you are a warrior, you are a king, you are a father, but there is also the spirituality, that you are a soul. So most of us have problems integrating these things. We think spirituality is what we do on Saturday between 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. while we are at the center, or maybe in the morning for half an hour to 1 hour while we are chanting, and rest of the time I'm in this material side of things where I have to do all these responsibilities. And Arjuna's question to Krishna is, how do I integrate all this? How do I put all these efforts? So what Krishna is saying to Arjuna is that you be a husband. Don't run away from being a husband, but become a spiritual husband. You be a warrior, Arjuna. Don't run away from being a warrior, but become a spiritual warrior. You be a king, but become a spiritual king, or also in Sanskrit known as Raj Rishis, right? You become a father, but become a spiritual father. So once you have done all that, you will do all your duties with the understanding that you are a soul originally, you're spiritual, and what you have in your hand is just your duty to perform. You don't entitle yourself for certain results. Then what will happen is you will be attached to the duty. Be attached to the duty but don't worry about the results. Then you will be detached to the results, and then whatever activity that you're performing in that consciousness, you have efforts that you can perform. From the duty standpoint, be attached, but from the result standpoint, be detached. And if you can do that, then everything becomes part of spirituality. You see how everything is connected, and that essentially is karma yoga. And that is the essence of chapter numbers 3 to 5. Is it making sense, dear devotees, thus far? I can get some thumbs up here if you are with me. I can see some of the faces, can't see all of them, but I can see thumbs up here. That is wonderful. So we understand where we are in terms of karma yoga. What's the question? What's the essence where we are going to, right? So that is what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that become spiritual in all your activities. Don't let go of anything, right? But then while you are thinking, there are three things that are important. You have to have the right intention, you have to have the right attention, and then you perform the right action. When you do that, then you don't worry about the results and you'll be detached. And that is the key of karma yoga. So that's the essence of karma yoga in chapter number 3 to 5. Right? Now after that, Arjuna says that, okay, I understand that. You told me I have to redefine success. Fine, I'll do that. You told me who I really am. I am the soul. Okay, I understand that. Now you taught me about how to connect everything that I'm supposed to do in my life and continue my spiritual journey. Okay, it all makes sense, Krishna. But I've got this mind. What to do about my mind? I cannot control my mind and stay focused on everything you have told me, right? It is said that mind is the problem where all the problems are kind of illusions of the mind. They are coming from mind only. They say that mind creates reality. You know how mind creates reality? Whatever is in your mind, you think, that thought process eventually becomes action. That action eventually becomes habit. That habit eventually becomes your character, and the character leads to destiny. So the mind creates realities, but then mind also translates realities. How does that happen? Any situation, we try to understand that based on our mindset. Like snow outside today. If my mindset is positive, I will see everything beautiful. I will see an opportunity to play in the snow, to sledge, to have a snow day or whatever. If my mindset is wrong, then I will be so depressed and so morose, such a gloomy environment, right? So the same situation with our mind, our mindset can be understood in different ways. So mind translates reality and mind creates realities. So that's a process that keeps on happening. That is why it is very, very important to control our mind. What does Krishna say about mind to Arjuna in the next chapter? He says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind remains the greatest of enemy. That's what Krishna is saying. And what does he's saying like this is to control the mind. So how to conquer the mind? That's the important question. Well, Krishna says to Arjuna that you can control your mind. How? Let's take an example. We all work on the computer. Is that correct? In one way or the other, we all are exposed to computer. We all know what a browser is, right? Whether it be Internet Explorer, now Edge, whether it be, Google Chrome or Firefox or Mozilla or Safari, we all have access to browsers where we do. And browser has a home page, right, where the browser goes to right away. The browser has a favorites, The browser has a history that we have browsed, and our browser also has something known as autocomplete. Our mind is something like a browser. It has a home page. It has its favorites. It has its history, what we have thought about, and it has some autocomplete as well. But what Krishna is telling Arjuna is you can reconfigure your browser. You can change your home page, right? You can change your favorites. You can set up different favorites. You can change your history. How do you change your history? By visiting other websites. The same way you can change the history of your mind by engaging the mind in the activities that are related to spirituality. Slowly, your history will change. You can also change your autocomplete as well, right? So how can you do this? You can do this by practice or abhyas. Arjuna asks this question, how to control mind? Krishna says, very important to control mind. Arjuna says, it's difficult to control mind. It might be easier to control the wind. I cannot control the mind. Krishna says that yes, you can control the mind. You can control the mind by abhyas. Abhyasena kaunteya, by practice, right? So Krishna says that by practice, you can reconfigure the mind like you can reconfigure a browser. There is one more thing that is important in a browser, and those are pop-ups. Pop-ups come up. Like pop-ups come up, what do? We ignore them, right? The same way in the mind, weird thoughts might come, but we have to neglect. We ignore them. When we neglect them, we ignore them, that is known as detaching from these thoughts, and that is vairagya. So by two things you can control your mind. One is practice and the other is detachment. Abhyas and vairagya. By these two things we can control mind. They say that we should not identify with the mind. We should identify the mind. There is also a saying that we have to mind our mind. Mental health is such a problem today. If we can control our mind by these spiritual practices and by the practice of detachment, then we are in a very, very comfortable place. I do not know if you recall the talk that Aradhya gave a few weeks back at the center. She was talking about how so many of her friends in the school have problem with mental health, that they were not mentally at a good place, and how her practice of japa and spirituality gives her an edge of being mentally at a much more comfortable place, that she can control her mind. So that's essentially, dear friends, is the fourth essential topic or teaching that we can draw from the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Are you all with me? Perfect. So we're going to move forward. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita essentially tell us what to do, right? They are about what we do, how do we live, or essentially karma yoga. The next 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita tell us how do we love, or bhakti yoga. And the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita tell us how do we let go, or renunciation. So the first 6 chapters are how do we live, next 6 chapters are how do we love, and the final 6 chapters are how do we let go. The first 6 chapters are karma yoga, the middle 6 chapters are bhakti yoga, and the last 6 chapters are jnana yoga. When we have the real knowledge, we can let go of the things that are not important, that are temporary, right? So that's where real renunciation comes in. So we're going to go into the next 6 chapters. Now Krishna is saying that Arjuna is looking at Krishna and says that, okay, controlling the mind, I get it. I understand it. I see now how with practice I can control my mind. But in reality, Krishna, I just don't want to control my mind. I would like my mind to be engaged in something nice. I would like my mind to be enchanted, to be captured, to be absorbed in something, immersed in something, right? We just don't want to control our mind. We want our mind to be immersed in something. Something, when our mind is in something, then we really feel happy about it. We want to be attracted by something, right? We just don't look for peace and clarity of thought, but we are looking for affection. We are looking for deep connection. We are looking for love. That is the essence. And that love, how to find that divine love, is the essence of the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, beginning with chapter 7. That's where Krishna begins to explain Bhakti Yoga. And this is the goal of Bhagavad Gita, right? We read that all along. Krishna Prema is the topmost goal of all stages of bhakti. Topmost is Prema Bhakti. That is the goal. That divine love is the goal, right? So here we're going to talk about how do we develop this love. There is a very, very famous saying by Oprah Winfrey that the chance to love and to be loved exists no matter where you are, right? This is so true in our lives. Wherever we are, we can have this chance to love and be loved. And what does Krishna say? Krishna says that if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I'll accept it. Right? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Right? Bhaktya. So with love and devotion, that's where Krishna is saying. So action is important, but what is also important is the intention, right? The intention in which we are doing. So behind every action of love, that intention of the heart is important. And those intentions that capture our imaginations, they form the basis of real deep relationships. So that is what is important. So in this section, the importance of what Krishna is talking about is this connection between the soul and the super soul in this relationship of love. And that essentially is yoga, right? What is yoga? Yoga is the connection between the jiva and Bhagavan. That is yoga. And that is what Krishna is talking about. And that connection is connection of love. And that becomes bhakti yoga or Krishna prema. When we have Krishna prema, we are already in bhakti yoga. And that is what Krishna is talking about in chapters 7 to 9. And how do we reawaken this love? That is the essence that we need to understand, right? So basically, when we talk about love, there are 3 things that we can understand. There is the physical love, or so-called physical love of this world. Then there is the emotional love, and then there is the spiritual love or the divine love. What are the differences between these loves? It all depends on our vision. It depends on 3 things. One is our vision of the person who we are in this relationship with. We can analyze this either for any of our material relationship, or we can analyze this on the basis of our relationship to the Lord. One is the vision. The second is the goal of our relationship. And the third is the role that the person is playing in this relationship and the role that we are playing in this relationship. So how do we analyze that? When we have the vision, then we ask this question: do we see God as our order supplier? Do we see God as He's going to supply everything to us that we need? In the material term, we can also see whether our relationship with somebody is more spiritual or it's more material. We can see if the person who we are trying to analyze our relationship with, are they our gratifier? Do we have expectations from them? Or do we see them somebody who we can serve, or somebody who we can offer to something? Now, what is our goal of coming together? What is our motivation to come in a relationship? Did we come into this relationship because of an insecurity, or it was there genuinely to help each other, to grow towards some kind of a higher goal, to to come to a more beautiful life in future. And what is the role that we are playing? Are we actually uplifting? Are we being positive? Are we being encouraging in that relationship? Or are we being a negative person, like we are draining the energy? Are we condescending? Are we always complaining? Are we always criticizing? So basically, to the extent that we can define our vision, our goal, and our role in a relationship, we can understand whether the relationship is physical love, emotional love, or spiritual love. And Krishna begins giving all these keys to awaken the higher quality of love that everyone seeks. And this love is there in everyone's heart. Prabhupada has explained this in many of his purports, that the bhakti is there dormant in everyone's heart. We just need to reawaken it. This seed of bhakti is there in everyone's heart. It just needs to fructify. We need to water it. We water the seed with the right association, with chanting, with reading right books, with some spiritual mindset, and that love is going to blossom. That is what we need to understand, and that's what Krishna is explaining in chapters 7 to 9 as to how we reawaken this divine love. And not just reawakening the divine love. When we have that, then we reconnect with the Supreme, right? How can we have this divine love with everybody around us in this world, right? We can have love with everybody around us in this world more on the physical level, but we can also have love with all living beings around us in this world on a more spiritual level. How do we do that? We can do that if we reconnect with the Supreme. That is what is very important. Now imagine a tree, right? If you water the root of the tree, do you have to water the individual branches and individual leaves? No. Everybody in this world is connected to Krishna. If we have a loving relationship with Krishna, we will have a loving relationship with all living beings. If we make Krishna happy, everybody would be happy. Right? That is what is very, very important if we understand. Right? So we have to water the root of this tree. Once we water the root of this tree, connect with the Supreme, love the Supreme Person, then all our relationships will flourish in this world. They say God is like oxygen. You can't see him, but you can't live without him. The same is true. What Krishna says, know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creation spring from but a spark of my splendor. So in today's world, people have different conceptions of God. Sometimes they think of God as a judge, right? As controller, as somebody who is like a punisher. Or sometimes they see he's the cosmic order supplier. For some people, God is probably just like a concept that they are trying to explain something that's not there. But Bhagavad Gita is very different. Bhagavad Gita says God is a person, Krishna, all attractive, right? That's what the word Krishna means, all attractive. God is full of charm, is full of character, he has charisma, he has, he's very close to us. Sometimes people think that God is too far away, but no, he's very close to us. He's inside us like a super soul. He's in our heart. Is it possible to connect with him? 100%. If we make that connection is yoga, right? So to encounter that divine is not something that we have to wait for till the end of our life. This connection is not something that we say, oh, now you are going to go in Vanaprastha, 65 plus, now you start making that connection. No, we should start making that connection right now and here, at any stage that we are in. That's what we need to do, right? That is what is very important. We need to understand that our Supreme Person, he's alive, right? He's not only alive, he's very attentive. Krishna is looking at what we are doing. Not only he's attentive, he's very affectionate, right? He loves us more than what we think, we love him. And more importantly, he is active. He performs so many leelas out there for us. So we really need to connect with him at this level, that he's a person, he's alive, he's attentive, he's affectionate, he's attractive, he's active. He's there as a person, he's very close to us. And that is what Krishna tells us in the middle 6 chapters. When Urmila Mataji was here, she gave such wonderful examples how we can see Krishna and everywhere, in the light of the sun, in the taste of the water, in the air, in the food, in our clothes, in people around us. Everywhere we can see Krishna, and we can connect with Krishna. And once we connect with Krishna, things fall in the right place, right? So that is the essence of the middle 6 chapters. Now, remember, the last 6 chapters we talked about, the first 6 chapters were how to live, Karma Yoga. The middle 6 chapters were how to love, right? Bhakti Yoga. The last 6 chapters are how to let go, or Jnana Yoga. So when we really understand what is what, when we develop knowledge, then we can easily let go what is not important. And what Krishna teaches Arjuna in the next set of sort of 5 chapters is this wonderful aspect of reconfiguring our energy. How to operate in an atmosphere of this material world but still maintain a high level of consciousness. This is what he says to Arjuna, how you can reconfigure your energy. And this he tells Arjuna by saying something known as 3 modes of material nature. So successful people are simply those with successful habits. Now, habits is a very, very important word. And this chapter directly or indirectly emphasizes how we can reconfigure our energy by concentrating on this word as habits. Earlier we talked about how mind creates realities, right? We're talking about how thoughts are there in the mind. What thoughts lead to? They lead to action. If you think about something quite often, ultimately that will result in an action, right? We have all experienced that. Frequent actions become habits. If I think about a sweet quite often, I'll start eating it. I eat many times, it'll become a habit. Or I have a habit of having a dessert after each meal, right? That can become a habit. What habits do? Habits form character, right? If you have certain habits, then that becomes part of your character. And what character decides is your destiny. So we can see that how habits is the central portion of our personality. It's a very, very important thing. That's why there are books like Atomic Habits. There are books like 7 habits of successful people, right? Everything concentrates about habits. So what does Krishna say? Krishna says, O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one's to happiness. So he talks about the 3 modes, right? So he says, mode of goodness conditions one's to happiness. Mode of passion conditions one's to fruitive action. And ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. So Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, is very important to be in mode of goodness, and that's how you can reconfigure your energy. This is really, really important. And this energy, these 3 modes of energy are inside us, but they're also outside us. So we can have thoughts in mode of goodness. We can have thoughts in mode of passion, and we can have thoughts in mode of ignorance as well. But on the outside, also we can have our environment in mode of goodness, our environment in mode of passion, or our environment in mode of ignorance, right? Say for example, we can be driving a car in mode of goodness, in mode of ignorance, or in mode of passion. We could study also in that mode. And this is the amazing thing, that the mode with which we carry our thoughts on the inside influence the things on the outside, and the modes that are outside, they influence the thoughts that we are on the inside. So if we are in a place that is full with mode of goodness, like when we come to the center, that is all in mode of goodness, right? So we have automatically good thoughts that are there in our mind. When we are waking up early in the morning, that time is of mode of goodness. Then we have got good thoughts in our mind. So when we go to a place that is like a bar, it's in mode of passion, mode of ignorance, we'll have bad thoughts that will come to our mind. So both inside can influence the outside, and the outside can influence the inside. So it's very, very important to understand and live in the mode of goodness. We have to live in the mode of goodness. Goodness gives rise to happiness. And when we are happy, we have good relationship, we have good health, we have good character, and we achieve things, right? So living in mode of goodness is very, very important. There is something that we also need to understand that Krishna tries to explain Arjuna, and that is this framework of our inclination. We are inclined to behave in certain way, right? We can relate to. There are many people who are kind of like short-tempered. They're inclined to become angry quickly. There are many people who are inclined to help, who we normally will go and ask for help. They are inclined to help, right? So there are some inclinations that we have. But most of the time, being conditioned in this material world, we are inclined in a negative way. So what happens is, whenever we pour our energy, it goes in the negative direction. So what Krishna is saying is that you reconfigure your energy by staying away from the negative and the bad, and you tilt your inclination by being in mode of goodness, so that you can become positive and good. Spend more time in goodness, in mode of goodness. Associate with things that are in mode of goodness. Associate with people that are in mode of goodness. When you do that, then automatically the thoughts in mode of goodness will lead to actions in mode of goodness, that will lead to habits that will be in mode of goodness, that will lead to a character that will be in mode of goodness, and that will define your destiny, that will also be in mode of goodness. So that is the essence of these 5 chapters, how we can reconfigure our energy. Once that happens, then Arjuna at the end is ready to re-enter the life. So finally, in the 18th chapter, Arjuna is equipped with this knowledge that we talked, and he says to Krishna, I'm ready to re-enter in this world and become a servant. Rabindranath Tagore has written this wonderful statement: I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. So when we really say, I am your servant, Prabhu or Mataji, we are saying, submitting ourselves to serve. When we serve the Lord, when we serve the Vaishnavas, we essentially are putting ourselves in mode of goodness, and that will lead to happiness. Krishna, after hearing all this, what did Arjuna say to Krishna? Arjuna says, "Oh, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and I'm prepared to act according to your instructions." So this is, my dear friends, the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So we started in the very beginning when Krishna has taught to Arjuna that, you told me to redefine success. Now I know what success is. Not just that, Krishna, you have taught me who I am, and I am really beyond this artificial identity of this upadhi and anarthas, and I'm a spiritual being, and I'm on a spiritual journey. And not only that, You told me that even though it is difficult, but I can reposition my lifestyle and I can live in this material world and become a spiritual husband, a spiritual father, a spiritual warrior, a spiritual king, right? I can reposition my life. And even though it is difficult to control, but I can control my mind. I can control my mind by making progress, by practice, and by detachment. And when I do that, uh, Krishna, you told me further that not only controlling my mind was essential, but then I can actually absorb my mind in divine love when I am accepting it on the right platform. And when I do that, then I can reconnect with you. And when I reconnect with you, I will reconnect with everyone around me on a spiritual level. And once I do that, I'll be able to reconfigure my energy. I'll be living in mode of goodness. And once I have done all these 7 things, now I am re-equipped to re-enter the life, and I don't have my doubt. I can serve, I can make a contribution, I can bring happiness to this world, I can make others happy. In making others happy, I can experience the greatest joy within myself. So this, my dear friends, is the journey of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And just to kind of close the loop, we started here, right? What all these people have to say, all this has already been told by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in so much detail. And as you can say that everything that we are reading today is the same knowledge that has been passed over generations and generations. One last thing I will say is that we all want to make a better version of ourselves. We want to do self-development, but self-development and spiritual development, they go hand in hand. We have to do spiritual development. Something that we need to really understand is that in the material world, our learning is kind of linear. The more information we get, it is also something more superficial. Like we know something about a lot of things. Then overall our knowledge becomes superficial and superficial. We do not know in depth about many things, right? We know about a lot of things, but we become a jack of all trades is what we become. In the spiritual world, the way we learn is we read the same book again and again and again and again, and it's like a spiral, and we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and we read it repeatedly, we read it broadly, we discuss it, we understand it practically, we put it in practice, we experiment with it, and what do? We go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And when we go deeper, we realize that the spiritual knowledge that is there in Bhagavad Gita is so simple. It is so simple that sometimes we might just miss it. We might be just busy in practicing the rituals and we might miss the practice. So, my dear friends, my plea to you is to understand what Bhagavad Gita has to offer. We're going to recite the whole Bhagavad Gita next Saturday, but please understand what Bhagavad Gita has to offer. It is less about denying of the self, but it is more about discovering yourself as to who you are. Don't think negatively, I'm not this, I'm not that, but think positively. Who am I? What is my role? What is my purpose? What can I offer? Don't think if you are spiritual, you isolate yourself from the world. No, you actually integrate into the world in a much deeper way, in much bigger way. It's not that you stop talking to people around you. No, I'm spiritual, so I'm going to be quiet. No, as a spiritual being, you integrate with people in a deeper way. You have much deeper relationship. It's not about leaving the relationships. It actually redefining the relationship as to how am I related to every living being in this world. It's not about gaining more and more information, but it's about actually transformation. It's learning the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita and transforming yourself. And it's also not about just renunciation. It's about actually dedication. How I can dedicate myself to this bigger cause. And it's not about holding back. It's about giving back. What I can give in this world. So, my dear friends, I would want to thank you so much. I took about an hour and 15 minutes here. I spoke a lot. I gave you a lot of information, but hopefully, this is helpful in understanding how the flow of knowledge goes in Bhagavad Gita and what Krishna's intention was behind speaking everything that he spoke to Arjuna in a big, broad overview. So thank you so much for your time and attention. I am happy to take any comments, corrections, reflections, thoughts, additions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very beautifully said. Very beautiful class. I wish I could have this recording so I can watch it multiple times. I had a question regarding Karma Yoga. You mentioned, and Bhagavad Gita also said that we should work in the mode of detachment, right? But there are people, like I'm one of them, who is motivated by the results. So if I don't see something that is fruitful out of my actions, then I don't feel motivated to do that. How do I get out of that mood and do my duties irrespective of whatever the results are?
Wonderful question, Suchita Mataji. Wonderful questions. When Krishna says that do your duties detached, he doesn't say you detach yourself from the duty itself. Do it as though it was your duty to do it, but don't be attached so much to the result. Why? Because you sometimes can get depressed if you don't have the results what you expect, right? As long as the results are positive, you will be motivated, but if the results are not positive, you'll be depressed. But we need to understand as to there are three doers. As a soul, jiva, we are one of the doers, right? We desire and we put our efforts in. But the second factor responsible in making the results happen is actually Krishna himself as a super soul in our heart. He sanctions it, right? Unless he sanctions it, it's not going to happen. And the third factor that makes the result happen is the prakriti or the nature. So that works under the direction of Krishna or super soul. So that is the interplay of the results of our action is not just based on our efforts. It is based on our previous karmic balance. It is based on our desires. It is based on our spiritual desires. So Krishna as a super soul and Prakriti that is working under his direction will make it happen. So we are just 1/3 of the three doers. The other 2/3 are Krishna and Prakriti. So if we act with that vision, then what we will do is we will give our 100% to the effort, but we will not worry about the result. That will help us keep motivated even if the results are not favorable. The results being favorable and unfavorable may be our perspective, right? There was a story about a guy who worked very, very hard to get into Titanic, the ship Titanic. But his son got sick. He ultimately could not get on the ship. He thought his life was a failure. He had worked so long, saved all this money. In his mind, him not getting onto the ship was failure. But when Titanic sank, he was thanking the Lord. So many times we do not know what failure is. It might be failure from our perspective, but it may not be a failure, right? So that's why we just concentrate on our duty and don't worry about the result. Although outwardly we are all driven by the results, but at the same time we get depressed by the results if they are not positive. So Krishna is saying don't worry about the result because the result is not under your control. Prakriti is managing it and I am managing it. So if we have that understanding, then we will be attached to our duty, our karma, and not be worrying about the result. Did that answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. It brings a lot of perspective because if anything goes wrong, it's very easy to blame ourselves that, okay, it's just me, and because of me, it's not working well. But changing this perspective makes a lot of sense, and I'll continue to practice this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Krishna says in 3rd chapter, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. We think that we are the doer, but Prakriti is doing it under the modes of material nature. So, thank you. Wonderful question.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. I had someone else's hand up. I can see it now. Let's see in the chat. Okay. No. Yes, Madan Adbhut Prabhu ki jai. Hi Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful, wonderful summary study and a very, very wonderful time. You're all kind of, by Krishna's will. I think Jerry Prabhu mentioned, by Krishna's will. Again, going back to, we think we are the doers, but we thought we will do this. But Krishna says, okay, no, I think it's time for you to recharge, relax, right? So Adiguru Prabhu gave us a wonderful summary on the snow day. We can think of Krishna. I was just thinking, I didn't have any questions, but yeah, just some reflections. This wonderful summary as you're going through this, the 8 themes all around R. I'm thankful to Adiguru Prabhu, and I was just thinking of their deities at home. It's Ashtami is always a special number, right? Like if you have 8 tilted, it becomes infinity. So that is what Radha, and that is what Radhanath is. So their deities are Radha and Radhanath. I was just meditating on them. The 8 R's that we went through today reminded me of Sri Radhanath ji. And in this world, so that is spiritually, but also materially, I think we talked a lot about the R's, again, connecting R's. And in my mind, like when you go to work, when you do anything, we think of the risk and the reward, right? That's in our mind. Okay, if I do this, what is the risk? If I don't do this, what is the risk? And what am I going to get at the end? What's the reward that I'm going to get, right? So all of those risks and rewards, again, everything is ultimately, like Adiguru Prabhu was mentioning, we think we are the doers, but Srila Prabhupada gave us such a simple practice of this bhakti. We think it is complicated, but actually it is so simple that sometimes we miss it because it is so simple. Or sometimes we think, we overthink too much and then we also miss it. But I think simply, like he was mentioning, if we just simply start doing some of these practices, reading sincerely, chanting attentively, serving humbly, at our center when we are there, and also at home also, like he mentioned, we all have our duties as a father, as a husband, as a son, as a brother. So, or, on the other side also, right, as a mother, as a sister. So we can spiritualize our lives. It's such a nice summary. So thank you so much, Adiguru Prabhu, for wonderfully explaining that. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. I have 3 things to say. One is that these slides are part of a Think Gita course. Think Gita course is offered by 3 people here at our center. Vamshi Prabhu, Vishwanath Prabhu takes it. Jai Hari Prabhu takes these classes, and I, as your humble servant, I'm also taking these classes. I understand Priya Radhika Mataji also is a facilitator and she can take these classes. So if this format interests you, maybe we can form a group at the center and do these classes if there is enough interest. Second was about Suchita Mataji. This session is being recorded, so it will be on the YouTube channel for ISKCON Cincinnati. And the third thing that I wanted to bring about was today is the birthday of our dear Harshika. I was looking forward to glorify Harshika at the center. We missed her program today. We'll cut her cake next Saturday, but I would request if we can all unmute and say Hari Bol to wish Harshika. Harshika, we wish you a lot. So we can all unmute and say Hari Bol to wish Harshika.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Have a happy Krishna
Hari
consciousness.
Bol,
Happy birthday, Harshita.
Harshita. Hari Hari.
Happy 14th birthday.
So much.
Hari Bol.
Haribol. Happy Krishna conscious birthday, Harshika.
May Lord Balaram always keep you strong in all your physical, emotional, and spiritual endeavors. Hare Krishna.
And Harshika, may you always enchant us with your beautiful kirtans. We are missing that today.
Yes.
Hari Bol.
Bol.
Thank you,
Such
Adiguru. Thank
wonderful.
you, everyone. You made her day, all of you.
Yeah.
She only wished I asked her what you want, and she only wished I'm so happy that I'm spending my full day at center tomorrow. From 6 to 8. That was her only desire. I asked her if you want a party, you want to go out for shopping, anything. She was like, this year I don't feel like anything. I'm just so happy that I'm gonna stay and full day at center. That's my best place. So she was kind of little disheartened when the decision was made. The first thing she asked in the morning, "Kya decision hua? Are we going to the center?" I'm like, "No, beta, we are not going to the center." But thank you so much. This is equally, you all with your presence, your blessings, you made her day. Thank you so much.
We love Harshika all very much, and we love her kirtan, we love her mridanga. She is a role model for a lot of kids in our congregation. So we wish a lot of good things for her. Priya Radhika and Jahari Prabhu are also here. They also take Think Gita classes. So yeah, Prabhu, anything you would like to add?
Yes. Prabhu, I just want to say that it's a format which really appealed to me. Keshav Swami Maharaj, who has prepared this course, these lectures, these classes, these slides, has a very his depth of the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is very profound, and I highly encourage you all who it takes Bhagavad Gita at a different level. The application aspect of it brings it to the modern platform, and I have feel people becoming transformed from the energy he has dissipated through these sessions. And I do know that Vishwanath Prabhu is the pioneer in this. He actually connected all of us to this movement. But Keshav Swami says that his motto, his goal is to make Bhagavad Gita the most read book around the world. Right now, it's on number 2 after Bible. So I really feel that to bring it to the foray of the modern world, this format is highly successful, or is going to be highly successful. So if you can encourage people like Suchita, Sakshi, Darshit, Harshika to kind of imbibe this and run with it, the next generation is going to make this extremely successful, because the lessons which Adi Guru gave, the 8 lessons, they are not for have any religious element. They are for anybody living life in this world, to connect, to disconnect, to connect back with the world is what we all are looking for. I was talking to my immediate administrative boss the other day, and I was kind of linking it somehow to him, that how these values are applicable not just to any religious sect, but it's really applicable to everybody around us. So my Harshika is a beautiful, lovely hearted girl and a very beautiful soul, and my desire for her is to take this to the next level. And I have no doubt that she will be one of the torchbearers of this movement. So thank you for engaging us in your birthday, Harshika, and we are all missing you. And I hope you have a wonderful year ahead, and make us all proud. We are all very lucky to have you in our community as a role model, as Adi Guru said. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to add anything? Something that they liked, they would just like to share? Just not questions, but if there's something that stood out, that really appealed to them, they would like to share.
Prabhuji, I would like to thank you for Bhagavad Gita. I've read many times. The way you explained is so simple, right? And as you said, it's very simple. And I think that I was really happy myself. I learned so much. So thank you very much, Prabhuji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Keshav Swami Maharaj. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Your comments are very valuable to us. Thank you for encouraging us all the time.
Thanks.
Yes, Darshit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the amazing session. I think I would like to echo the same thing. Like, it was so simple. I'm still not have completed the entire Bhagavad Gita. I'm on the last chapter. And I've been reading that from past 2 years, and it was a good refresher, number one thing. And then second thing was, I mean, there were a lot of points that I got out of it, and now I have something to share with my friends. Because when you look back, it's like, okay, you know the verses, but like, how do you communicate, or how do you really talk about this kind of verses, right? So I got that link. So thank you so much. I appreciate this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that. Thank you. Kishori Mataji, is there something you would like to say? You're always so inspiring, joining us in all our endeavors.
No, Prabhu, thank you. Again, thank you so much for having a session virtually today. You know, I was disappointed that we didn't get to go to the center and recite, but it was so nice that you could still give us an opportunity to all connect and be with each other. And I think what I appreciated most from your class was just the reminder that Krishna he's alive, he's active in his leelas, he's affectionate, he loves us. I just appreciate being reminded and hearing that, because I don't think we hear that so much in all of our lectures, but Krishna does love us, and we are trying so hard to love Krishna as best we can. And we're so blessed that we have devotees like yourself and everyone at the center that we can learn from. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. That is so wonderful. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Amita.
Yes. So first of all, thank you, Prabhuji, so much. This was definitely very enlightening. And like everyone is saying, you've put it in such a simple form to understand the whole teachings of Gita in like just 8 points is just, again, reminding us that it's so simple. We just make it complicated by, again, our minds, like you said, our minds think and we overthink and then we make it complicated. But I want to reflect on something which I really learned today and kind of struck into my minds. So we've been reading this with our friend groups from past 2 years now. And of course, we think when we read, we interpret. The one thing that we've been kind of going into more depth was our social endeavors while we are going in this spiritual journey. And we kind of want to think, oh, are we, when we are in our social endeavors, are we more into material world? And how do we want to, like, when we say, oh, are we being Mayavadi? Should we just stay home? Should we not meet people? Should we, like how you said at the end, we don't have to stop talking to people? And that's where my biggest question is kind of answered today. Like, talking to people, meeting people, and socializing doesn't mean that you are not being spiritual. You can convert that into a spiritual endeavor for yourself with your mind and with practicing the spiritual part of Buddha, like you said, being a spiritual friend instead of just being a friend, being a spiritual friend. So that definitely just really cleared the doubt that I was struggling with for past, I would say, 6 months now. So that was such a big blessing for me today that I attended your session. And then also, like, the part that stood out was that that we are inclined to have those negative talks or negative perceptions about people or negative perceptions about the social events. And so we have to just reconfigure ourselves and make and see the positive in that.
I think we lost you at the very end. But,
okay, I was just saying, that was my biggest takeaway and a blessing from today's
that is such
lesson. So I was just thanking you so much for that.
No, thank
Yeah. So
thank
Hari
you.
Bol.
Thank you for sharing such deep realizations. Those are really, really important. I think those are really important, that we don't feel um disgusted, or we don't feel guilty about being involved in social activities. We have to just keep the right perspective, and we can be actually the instruments in spreading this knowledge, by talking about this knowledge, by distributing these books, by giving them as gifts, by inspiring people to take on to read these books by our behavior. People say that, oh, you are always so happy, you're always so nice, what is it that you eat? So you tell them that, this is what I eat and this is what I read.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Since then, that's amazing to what you just said, because in our home now, we always have 2 or 3 Gita books in all places, and anytime we get 2 minutes, we'll just sit and start reading something. So that's become a favorite book now. It's been it's a blessing. So
Wonderful. So nice to hear that. Thank you. Thank you.
Amita, we have missed you though.
I know.
Please come back.
I will. I'm reconfiguring myself, and then I'll be there.
Yes, we've missed it. Last, I was just telling my husband that I think when Chaitanya Charan Prabhu came, that's when I last saw you. So please keep coming.
Yes.
I know life is busy for all of us, but yeah, association or meeting people with similar mindset is the biggest, you can say, impetus for growth. So if Bhagavad Gita is becoming a favorite book, we want to hear from you. We can all learn from each other, right? So please come. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. So anybody else would like to add anything? If not, it is 6:53. We can end here. We'll say Vaishnav Pranam Mantra. We can all unmute and say Vaishnav Pranam Mantra to each other, and then end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai. Thank you.
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare
Prabhuji.